All right, first errata text of the new year, and first video with the new camera featuring my face. We'll see how well this works and compares to what I've used in the past. But anyway, the video, I have noticed, I think a lot of people didn't really get what I was going for in the video, but just to reiterate, the theme I built up to in that video, and maybe I could have explained it better, was reciprocity. That is not only identifying what these different types of players are and how they engage with the game and how to appeal to them, but also what they give back. And that is the big goal here. Like Timmy's, like I said about how Timmy's give back by simply being the largest group. If you appeal to Timmy's, Timmy's are by far the largest group who buys cards, and so by appealing to them, you can sell a lot of product. Like, I'm reaching a little bit here, but if you look at like video games, if you look at Pokemon, I guarantee you, like 90% of the people who buy Pokemon games buy them and never engage in multiplayer. I mean, some might dabble here and there, but none will like really like commit to multiplayer, like doing it above everything else. They want to buy the game so that they can pick the cutest starter and beat all the gyms and catch the cool legendary. That's Timmy's. That's the power of the Timmy crowd. And like I said, they make up a huge group there. And because they are so large, they earn your game a lot of money. So reciprocity is a big theme. It's what I don't think I've really seen analyzed in a lot of these articles. They will like go on and on and on about these player types, but not what they give back. So that was something I was trying to add to the conversation. And also, spikes. Yes, I know I used General Ratcliffe as my example of a spike, but I didn't mean that with any malign intent. I'm sorry if people got that impression. It's just, his character is all about this villain song, which is about all the prestige he's going to bring upon to himself. And, him with like that golden attire, met with the, not only the Spike's desire to win, but also, the prestige that they like to carry with them. So that was really the goal there. But yes, it's reciprocity. Timmy's think your game is cool. They do things on sort of a surface, sort of a basic level. They think your game is neat for its artwork or its lore, and they get involved even if they don't really get too deep into the gameplay. But because they're such a huge group, they're worth appealing to. Johnnies are the ones who sort of reveal your game's complexity. They're the ones who poke and prod and see what sorts of cool things can come out. They can reveal that your game is more than just a silly Timmy game, that it actually has like depth and nuance and stuff like that. And spikes show what the highest level of that play can be. They are the ones who show off the Grand Prix and show off like the true mastery of the craft to give, to show that this game is more than just a bunch of cool pictures. So all of them have something that they give back to your game, and that's the same with the JIMOTHY. The JIMOTHYs are the ones who, maintain the marketplace. Although I guess if I wanted to say how do you make cards that appeal to the JIMOTHYs, you make a solid business model is what you do. It's why I keep talking about, approaching these things like you were running a business, about how you talk in business terms with like game stores and stuff like that with, simple install base. You have all of these people who are buying your game. You demonstrate that from a business standpoint, because when I go to a game store and I say, hey, have you checked out this game? The first thing they tell me is like, well, I'll go and ask some of my regulars if they're interested. They're maybe not necessarily the most invested in a game's like gameplay or lore or something like that. I mean, they'll occasionally find games that they get passionate about, and that'll become like little pet projects, but most of the time it's about, can I meet the bottom line? So that's what a JIMOTHY is. Though I guess if we're talking about new types, what about Vorthos and Mel? Those I did not mention in the actual video, but a Vorthos is somebody who is interested in your game specifically, pretty much entirely for its aesthetics, for its lore, for its artwork, for like some kind of ongoing story. These are the people who read like the Magic the Gathering novels. These are the people who collect every iteration of Gaga Gigo because he has a story going on there. It's sort of an intangible thing. And then you have the Mels, which what they do is they like to explore the complexities, the interactions, the rhythms of the games and the cards, but maybe they aren't like into like finding like big winning strategies like that. It's just that complexity itself, that sort of Rubik's cube of ideas, that sort of endless, finding of gears that work together, that's more interesting to the Mel. Although, if you did watch the video, you'd know that I did mention those traits. It's just I folded them in to the Timmy profile and the Johnny profile, respectively. And I'm sure the question is obvious. Was that a mistake? Well, let me explain my methodology again. My theme was reciprocity. What do these different profiles give back to you? So, a Timmy, they think your game is neat. They like, the big monsters. They like a lot of the surface level, simple gameplay. They also like the well-designed cards, the ones with the large numbers, the ones with the cool artwork. A Vorthos, they like the lore, they like the artwork, they like the sense of continuing story, like that Tepig line from Pokemon that was kind of famous. Timmys reciprocate that by being a huge group who buys lots of product from your game, even if they don't really invest in play or competitive play. The Vorthos reciprocates your game by investing and buying a lot of cards, even if they don't get into the depth in competitive play. Functionally, from a reciprocal angle, they are functionally the same, which is why I think Vorthos is just a flavor of Timmy. Like with the Mel as well, like Johnny's, they show the complexity of your game by finding interesting interactions, figuring out how the gears mesh together and developing winning strategies out of it. And Mel's are, they're kind of the same. They tinker with all of the interesting strategy. They look at, maybe occasionally, like, I think an example they use is like a rhythm of syllables or something. Like Gristlebrand is like the most anti-Mel card you can come up with because everything is sevens except for its cost. But they show that your game they demonstrate that your game has a lot of complexity and nuance. Reciprocally, they are identical. I mean, if we want to go ahead and add new types, let's go ahead and add the Obi-Wan, who is somebody who achieves mastery but wants others to achieve mastery as well, even though that would technically be folded into the spike. So, in my build, Vorthos is a flavor of Timmy, just as Mel is a flavor of Johnny, just as Game Store Owner is a flavor of JIMOTHY. So, from a reciprocal standpoint, they're kind of identical. I mean, they emphasize some different things that are also necessary, but honestly, I kind of fail to see the difference between the Mel and the Johnny at all. I mean, I guess if the idea is that the Vorthos and the Mel interact with your card game and just don't play your game at all through that, then that might be a distinction, but as far as what they do functionally, they are similar in style to others, and even if we do add these additional two profiles, the JIMOTHY being the type of player, the type of person, however you want to put it, who interacts with the game to make money, still fits in with their own niche. So I think my addition is still a valid one. I mean, some people have said, oh, the Wizards developers can't acknowledge the JIMOTHY because it acknowledges the secondary market. Like I said, JIMOTHYs also include store owners, people who need to be shown a solid business model where they stand to profit by investing time and space in a game. So that's part of the standard as well. Anyways, yep, it's a new year. Moving forward, we're going to see what other cool things we can do. I do have a Teespring shop. I don't really have much to show on it for now. It's pretty much my face, a poster, and, more stuff to add to the Gaga Gigo line. But some things I'm looking into is I'm thinking of maybe starting a Discord. I'm thinking of revamping my Patreon to try to get that going. I do have some more subjects in mind, although they might be more like workshops than they would be like Errata Text. Like, I've done a bunch of videos in the past about how Blankety Blank tries to sell you its starter decks, where I talk about less like the decks themselves and more about the box that they ship in. I'm thinking I'm just going to do like a basic clinic on how to make that design appealing. I mean, some people have suggested maybe I should make my own card game. I mean, I have ideas, but at the same time, if I put out my own card game, that kind of does something to my impartiality. So, like I said, I have ideas. I have an idea for a game that involves like that where it's kind of like a Duel Masters thing, but there's like an interesting way to mess with your resources. Like certain ways you use resources allow you to play cards for cheaper or something, like play them for less by like permanently destroying resources. Like it's not an ability inherent to the resources, but to the cards that you would play with the resources, and maybe something like that. But I mean, I have a lot of ideas. I'm the kind of guy who's better at editing than I am at just straight up creating. Like I can see something, I can poke and prod at things and see how that works. Maybe I'd be sort of a Mel if we were talking strictly, I'm sort of a Johnny. I'm sort of a Timmy too. I like cards that have like a bit of pop to them. But yeah, first Errata Text of the new year. I've still been, just barely kissing that mark of 50,000 subscribers for the longest time. So if you haven't yet, feel free to please like and subscribe, ring the bell, and turn on all notifications. But yeah, that is a quick follow-up on the player taxonomy with a couple more types. We've discussed them here. We discussed that reciprocal angle. Like I said, that's what I really wanted to add to the discussion was reciprocity. Is like, we know these characters exist, but what do they actually do for your game? But now that's out there. Hopefully that can be a helpful tool for people out there. I'm hopefully can make some more helpful stuff. Like I said, I'm going to make a basic clinic on how to do starter decks. And yeah, starter decks. I've already done one on, composition of booster packs, but this is going to be like aesthetic design of like your starter deck box and how you get people to go from spotting your game to bringing it home and playing it. So yeah, that should be a lot of fun. Until next time, this is Kodak signing off.